guys, here we go again with another of our Evolution Consulting market updates as they've come to be known. This one being recorded on the 23rd of July, 2016, which is a Saturday, so no trading today. However, a couple of things I wanted to go over. You might be wondering, why would I do one of these when we just did one like 2 days ago that's every bit of a half hour long? And the reason is twofold. First of which is a bit of a public service announcement. As far as our Switch and Signal publication goes, we kind of adhere to the promise less, deliver more approach to business these days. And what we've done is we had to set the typeface and the graphics and all the fun stuff for so we could be ready for August 1st to begin delivering Switch and Signal on a weekly basis. But in doing so, we accidentally put together a legit issue of Switch and Signal with current research. So what we've decided to do is we're going to offer that to anybody that wants it. Anybody that wants to take a look at what Switch and Signal is going to look like, the paid version, you are welcome to make use of the contact form on our website, evolutionconsulting.world. Drop us an email. We'll be happy to send one along so you get a chance to see what it looks like if you like what you see before August 1st. If you do subscribe, you will get the promotional price, okay, which is $5 off the monthly subscription. Okay, and after that, it's $25 a month. That being said, and that bit of promotion out of the way, and by the way, look and feel wise, I will say that Wirehouse is the information Wirehouse, guys, is ultra deep level. I mean, it really is. All right, and it's kind of in the lineage of what we were doing even during our test of concept phase. That was some seriously deep level research. Grant Street Notes. The metals guide alone for Grant Street Notes has already been proven so accurate. I mean, it's awesome. But look and feel wise, and it's a little bit of a departure from our usual styling. The look and feel of Switch and Signal, we kind of went with that retro steampunk industrial revolution kind of feel, and it is I really like it. I really do. It's my personal look and feel wise. It's my personal favorite publication that we have already. It's not because it's a new one or whatever. It's just I like the look of it, and from an artistic standpoint, it's not something I would normally design, looks-wise, so I'm kind of proud of it. But that being said, the real purpose of this market update has to do with information, speaking of preliminary information, that we have been seeing very, very, very frequently. Okay, and I'm still going to say it. I'm going to preface this by saying this is still preliminary information. It's not hard and fast, absolute. We'll tell you when we see information like that, and usually, if you guys have been following along, we are very correct. But the information that we've seen recently follows kind of a narrative of something we've called Fed and central banking irrelevance. Okay, and you say, well, what the hell does that mean? Go back, watch some of the other videos that we've done also, and just realize that a lot of the techniques now that have been used to repress the spot valuations of metals, which is something we do speak about quite often, okay, is the fact that the only reason most of the fiat currencies, or any of the fiat currencies on this planet, be that the US dollar, the Swiss franc, the pound sterling, euro dollar, Canadian dollar, Aussie dollar, take your pick. Even some of the, all the BRICS nations' currency, those are not metals backed yet. But in terms of the repression of metals, the only reason a lot of those fiat currencies, up to and including the U.S. dollars in your pocket, are worth anything is because of one of the primary reasons is because of the repression of real money, which is gold and silver, and has been for the last 5, 6, 10, 20,000 years. All right, so it's got a fairly proven track record, shall we say, as being used as a means of economic exchange. But as the Anglo-Western banking system, which I comically refer to as the Western banking system now because the Anglo left, Brexit stage left, as we called it, accurately so and forecasted accurately. But as the means and methodology to repress metals valuation, spot pricing, okay, prior to the global economic reset, start to become ineffective, we have forecasted that the only way left for those that would rather see metals values repressed, the only way they have left to repress spot valuations of metals is to hand metals investors their dream come true. I'm going to say that again, and it's going to sound like a far departure from what I normally speak about. Normally I have something snarky or sarcastic to say. Here we go again with the metals repression, right? So obvious. The only way that it'd be that the Federal Reserve, the COMEX, that system, and what's left of the EU, okay, can repress metals valuations, and this is the information that we're starting to see, preliminary, is by inflating equities markets. And by doing so, if you're a metals investor and you know what's really going on in terms of geopolitical and socioeconomic and really what's going on at that top level narrative, or if you've been listening to our stuff for a while, you kind of know. That's a metals investor's dream come true, because what they're going to do, the only way, and there is still, I don't want to say the way it was maybe 10 or 15 years ago, or even as recently as 5 years ago, there is still that somewhat inverse relationship to gold and silver and speculative capital markets, NASDAQ, S&P, and the Dow. Okay, you see that in JNUG and you see that in NUGT. Those that have spent some time intraday trading JNUG, or really keeping an eye on JNUG and NUGT, USLV and SLVP, you will know that there is a definitive inverse ETF sort of effect on those metals ETF. There just is. I did it for 30 days as part of our trading experiment. I will tell you, there is still a bit of that inverse ETF, inverse index ETF effect on a lot of those metals ETFs. But let me tell you, if they're going to run and the preliminary information we're seeing is significant. Okay, I'm still going to call it prelim, but it's significant. If they're going to start running the equity markets up to try to repress the spot valuations of metals, here's what they've just done. They have handed you your dream come true. It's quadruple coupon day. Okay, and we're going to follow this. We're going to follow the same plan that they are. Buy everything. That's, I guess, the Fed's approach, or the ECB and the Bank of Japan. They're going to go into buy everything mode. All right, and that's buy any securities on the open market that they can, to run those indexes up as high as they can to prevent metals valuations from really increasing. And what they've just done is handed every metals investor their dream come true. They've provided you a vehicle. Okay, a brand new shiny vehicle. They provided you a vehicle to turn paper into more paper into metals at a discounted rate. Think about that for a second, guys. From a purely pragmatic, I'm not going to get into the technicals, I'm not going to get into the gory details, but based upon what we've seen, initial information, all right, and this is why I wanted to do this video, because it's so significant. It's one of those kind of metals repressions we should hope for. If they're that effing stupid, okay, and we're that smart to kind of figure out what's going on, all right, here's the reality of the situation. Trade it at the index level. They want to start running the Dow 18,000, and we forecasted this. And I remember, if you listened to us during our test of concept phase, our Dow 28,000 prediction is now both infamous, and we're kind of getting this feeling that it might be a bit conservative. Okay, that's really, all right, Dow 28,000, these capital markets getting inflated to absolute astronomical levels. That's really the only meaningful way that they can say that, in a combination of just fudged metrics, but unemployment, non-farms, and all that stuff. But I don't even bother talking about that crap anymore, because it doesn't matter. But to run capital markets up, to be able to have something to point to and say, first of all, under a Democrat, the market's X percent, Y percent, Z percent higher than it was at the beginning of the administration, right? And number two is going to be to prevent that metal spot valuation from increasing. All right, so if they want to run those markets up and kind of use that as a to say, oh well, there's a recovery in progress and all that, you know what I say? Go for it, have at it. Okay, and what we have to do now as investors, and this is where Switch and Signal comes in, and of course I'm not going to mention everything, obviously, in these videos that we present in Switch and Signal, but we're still going to try to provide no-cost information, here and there, specific trades and specific sectors. And you see, we just have a freakishly accurate track record of doing that. I mean, from NVIDIA to Taser, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, and I'm not going to go down, the rest of the list here. But the point of the story, though, guys, is if you want to sit back, relax, and drink a Mai Tai, all right, and just trade the index and let an inflated index, all right, turn more paper and turn paper into paper, so you can go out and buy discounted physical metal. To have at it. Okay, if you want to really get in, you want to go into the triple leverage and a double leverage index stuff, or if you want to go sector level, that's our personal favorite. I mean, it's one thing to trade the index, but it's another thing to use Evolution 4.0 to find the sector and go, oh yeah, in addition to catching a market updraft, it's going to, this particular sector. We've been spot on with what we call the chaos plays, which is really just kind of a very specific sector or portion of the defense sector, the personal tactical defense type stuff. So we've been spot on. So that's been index plus. Yeah, there's a real demand for those kind of products, and we speak about that at length in the previous video that we did. But guys, again, we're seeing the information now where we're seeing significant information where but we're still calling it prelim. Where it looks like that's the weapon of choice now. That's the weapon of absolute last ditch desperation. All right, which is run the equity and throw as much money at the market as you can. Throw as much money at the market as you can, and then just run the indexes up so you have A, an election story, and B, you have a means in which to repress metals valuations. So what we're going to do is we're going to let them throw all the money they want at the market, okay, buy everything, all right, let them run the market up aside, and what we're going to do is we're going to throw money at gold and silver, okay, thanks to their manipulation. And that right there, I call that the ramjet effect, okay? It's the faster you go, the faster you can go. People that are familiar with ram and scramjet technology, it's really cool stuff, but it's kind of the theory of the faster you go, in a vacuum, the faster you go, the faster you can go. All right, so that's really, in a short-sighted attempt to stop metals, what they've done is they've accidentally handed us metals investors and those that really know what's going on geopolitically and economically. They've handed us our dream. All right, and if that's the case, I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know if it's going to happen for sure. We will certainly do another no-cost video because of the significance of that information. But guys, again, I do seriously hope you're making money every single day. All right, because I've done, and during my test of concept phase, it's one thing to bitch, whine, moan, and complain, as I so often say. It's another thing to adapt, prosper, and overcome, as I like to say. And the reality is, I like to think that our evolution audience, we are the 10%ers, man. So the reason I do this is because there's plenty of voices out there, and there's plenty of people out there that are, and again, I did my routine in the alternative news community, and it's just like, that's a big complaint fest. And you know what? To their credit, there's a lot of the stuff they do speak about, they're very accurate about it. So, but what do you do with it? Okay, and that's why we're here. We'll tell you what to do with it, or at least give you some idea of what to do with it. That being said, guys, again, I hope you're making money. I hope you're prospering. Hope you're having the time of your life. All right, and we'll do another one of these soon. As always, be good. Everything really is a transaction.